Welcome to the Windows Computer and Technology channel. And of course, now that we have looked at Windows 8 and 8.1 and given my personal opinion, of course, let's look at Windows 10. We'll also look at Windows 11. I'll give it a score. So, Windows 10, this is the major shift in Windows, something that was very different than what we had in the past, and the way that it was structured, and they actually introduced Windows as a service with Windows 10, something we had not heard before. So before Windows 10, what we had were operating systems that you would just install. Sometimes they could be service packs or updates, but overall, that was Windows. That was something that was your operating system until some new Windows came out later. Windows 10 came to market as a different style of Windows. They thought about it as Windows as a service. How about we have a Windows that we can upgrade and change all the time, and so that we add new features and that we can add new technologies and adapt it to the future every year with updates. So that was the idea behind it, and the idea behind Windows as a service. Windows 10 has also started the Windows Insider program. There were technical previews I told you about Windows 7 and Windows 8 that were released for tech enthusiasts before the real release. But those were just, we're going to show you in advance what it is, but you weren't really participating in much. You were just trying out something new. Of course, you could, talk about it and give your comments, but overall, it was really just let's show tech enthusiasts that want to see it the new Windows before everybody else. In Windows 10, they had a different idea, and which was a cool idea, and actually got a lot of people excited, a lot of tech enthusiasts excited. They decided in October of 2014 to create something called the Windows Insider program. And that's where the first build of Windows 10 was pushed to what we called insiders. The idea behind insiders is let's get as many people on the insider program testing the new operating system. And we'll have telemetry that's going to tell us about what is happening in Windows. There are going to be comments. People are going to say what they like, what they don't like. We'll shape Windows with all of that. The idea was good, and a lot of people did go to the Windows Insider program at some point. I was one of the first, actually on day one of the Insider program, I was there. And a lot of people went there. A lot of people kind of thought it was cool to try out Windows before everybody else. And the fact that we could shape and help, we had the impression we could be helping Microsoft in making something great. As time went by, though, the Insider program showed that it had flaws. The program itself was not necessarily flawed. What was flawed was the fact that you just noticed that Microsoft either ignored, or if they did not ignore, did not notice some of the complaints and some of the issues that insiders were reporting. Over time, I saw a lot of comments of people saying, well, the Windows Insider program, that's it's non-technical people. It can't work. And the thing is, as a observer of the Windows Insider program myself, and as a insider myself, one of the things that I noticed is that it did work. And you don't need to have highly technical people when you have telemetry. So there were tech enthusiasts and tech guys in the Insider program that were technical, could actually talk a lot about it and talk about the crashes or the problems. And there was people that just wanted to try it out, but the telemetry Windows was sending was still helping Microsoft to know what was happening. And you enrolled in the Insider program from within the Windows. Now, unfortunately, there were a lot of problems with the Windows as a service, and we're going to come back to that in not very long. It's also something that is the first time Microsoft had done this. The first operating system to be given out free of charge. Every Windows version you had to pay for it. Either you paid it with a new PC or you paid it by buying a license and buying a box copy of it. Windows 10 changed that. Here it is, free of charge to Windows 7 and Windows 8 users that want to upgrade for the first year. The idea behind this, of course, try to push as many Windows 7 users that are still very high number in 2015 into Windows 10 so that the retirement of Windows 7 in 2020 it doesn't go too bad. And they kind of succeeded pretty much on that side. The thing is, that loophole of a free upgrade still works. If you have a valid key, or if you're still on Windows 7 or Windows 8, you can, for free, upgrade to Windows 10 still today. It still works. And that they've never really closed. The idea behind upgrading to Windows 10 also changed a few things, and that started actually in Windows 8, but was more visible in Windows 10. The introduction of a digital license means that now you don't need that product key anymore. You install Windows 10 on a machine that already had it, and when it activates, the Microsoft servers know that that machine already had Windows 10. It was fine. And of course, there was a lot of controversy with one of the major things in Windows 10, all the telemetry and the fact that you can't turn it off. There was controversy with the Cortana Assistant. People saying, well, it's Microsoft snooping. There's a lot of little things like that that displeased some users, and Microsoft, being Microsoft, always had a hard time really explaining well all of the behind the scenes of what's happening with all of that in your data. But still, people moved on to Windows 10. It was a huge success, and it's still today, as more than 1 billion people are using Windows 10. The Windows as a Service was a hit and miss system. It was maybe looking good on paper. Let's bring new features and enhance the settings and have new apps and new features and change things in Windows and make it more modern with every version. But the fact that there was 2 updates a year, which was twice more than everybody else on their systems. Mac is once a year, Android is once a year, iOS is once a year. Why did Microsoft choose twice a year for Windows? I think that was already crazy. And crazy considering the little, mishaps that Windows Update has from time to time. And the other problem with that was that these feature updates were practically big Windows reinstalls. They would actually not upgrade just parts of the system. They would reinstall Windows completely and keep your settings and programs. It came with a couple of versions that weren't that had some problems. And that's where the Windows Insider program showed that actually the Insider's side worked. Because some of the feature updates that had issues, the Insiders already had talked about it. They already had mentioned many months before, hey, that doesn't work. But the flaws of the Windows Insider program were seen at the Microsoft side, where a lot of these reported flaws seem to just go by without nobody noticing it. And that was a problem. Then things quieted down. Microsoft decided, okay, 1 update a year, 1 small update. That was more manageable. So there was a little cumulative update and a big feature update. And then, of course, since version 2004, it's been only cumulative updates, very small updates. And things were we were started to wonder what's happening. Windows seemed to kind of quiet down. No new features or very little features. We're just going on Windows 10 mainstream, when at some point there was kind of excitement of all sorts of new things coming to Windows. And even until last year, early 2021, we were actually being told, oh, there's going to be some major change. We're going to call it Sun Valley. a new style of Windows 10 until, of course, surprise, surprise for everyone, Windows 11 arrived. The future of Windows 10 looks like it's going to be a quiet one with not a lot of updates, very, once a year cumulative updates. And talking of cumulative updates, that was one of the great things of Windows 10. We are talking about, past versions of Windows that were so crazy to install when you wanted to reinstall from scratch. If you didn't have an updated, CD or DVD with all the service packs, you had to go through the pain of reinstalling all of that, and it was so complicated. They fixed part of it with the cumulative updates. Cumulative updates in Windows 10 was a new way of installing updates. And cumulative updates were just showing up and saying, oh, let's look at all the missing updates, and we'll install that as a big package. That made Windows Update and Windows 10 simpler. And the fact that you had new versions of Windows 10 with those feature updates meant you install the latest feature update and you'll have only a small cumulative update to install on it, rather than going back to 2015 and installing a million things. That was really, really nice to have a different style of Windows updates on this. For stability, overall, except for a few mishaps that Microsoft had here and there, Windows 10 is very solid. It is rock solid, doesn't have any problems in general. I have no issues, never really had any issues. Most people you'll ask will tell you they never had a problem with Windows 10. There's a background noise that we see all the time, and I see even some comments here, Windows 10 is freezing, it's slow, it's this, it's that. Has something to do with your computer or drivers or software you're using, not Windows. Windows 10 is as fast, if not faster, than Windows 7. And if we look back in time, because that's one of the questions I've always been asked is, would you go back to an older system? There's this nostalgia side to older systems like Windows 98 or Windows 3 at the time when I'm discovering PCs for the first time. I moved on from an Amiga 500, which I thought was fantastic. And Windows 3 and DOS at that time was my first entry into the PC. Windows XP, beautiful system. Windows 7, beautiful system. No, I would not go back. Windows 10 is great. I love it. I like it the way it is. And, I think it's a good idea that they're going to be just stabilizing this into small updates, nothing major. And it's just going to work, and it's going to be okay. And I think the future of Windows 10 is nice. And that's why, I tell everybody, no rush in moving on. It works great. You've got a mature system in Windows 10. And there's a lot of new technologies in here that are great, including the fact that the RAM system, for example, in Windows 10, RAM is handled in a much efficient way compared to older systems. There are a lot of things that make Windows 10 really faster and really great. They tried all sorts of things. They tried to have us use more of the Microsoft Store, which didn't really work that much. There were all sorts of ideas like the Windows Universal Platform and all sorts of things that were kind of abandoned over time. Although Universal Windows Platform still exists technically, they're moving more to the web platform instead. Which is a much, unified web apps and stuff like that are much better and are compatible with every system at some point. Overall, what score would I give Windows 10? When it was in the twice a year feature updates, I would have given it, as a tech guy, maybe a 7.5 because of the possibility of problems, and people didn't like that. But now that we're in the mainstream with small yearly cumulative updates, I would give Windows 10 a 9 out of 10. Great system. And nope, I'm not looking back and do not want to go back into an older system. This is fine. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.